Time to get you hooked again. Welcome inside another edition of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. I'm Bob Ballou alongside head coach Mack Brown and the quarterback Vince Young. Rate and review us anytime at the Stampede UT. You can get this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. If you want to watch us, it's on YouTube. Otherwise, Apple, Spotify if you want to listen. But you're going to want to watch because last week we had an absolute fashion statement from Vince Young. He brought back the glasses this week. But, Coach, you decided to join him. Look how good you guys look. I'm missing out here. This is awesome.
Well,
That is
I thought
outstanding.
probably the best thing to do was try to live up to Vince's style. But, I'm not cool enough. I just
Yes,
looked
you are.
Yes,
I
you
looked
are.
at Vince, and he's earned that cool. I looked at me, and then at 74,
Oh, they're off. The glasses
Watch
are
what our views
Yeah.
say. They're gonna give you your flowers, coach, and
Plus, I
said
can
you
see
did
it.
look good.
Vince, we probably had more comments about your glasses last week than just about anything. What is the fashion statement, my man?
Well, just always got some swag. As a quarterback, y'all remember,
100%.
you remember my guy CDC just said, just born with it, just always want to look good. It makes you play better, it makes you speak better, it makes me do good on the show. So I thought I'd put on some glasses to turn it up a little bit for our viewers.
Mission accomplished.
Well, maybe I should put them back on then.
Well,
Exactly.
Better and look better.
Good
Yeah.
poker face, too. It's a good way to
You've
play
been
poker.
doing good all your life, so that's more swag for coach.
Well, besides sunglasses, we've got a ton to get into. We're going to check in as Texas gets set for this showdown in Athens Saturday night at 6:30 Central. The Longhorns will kind of talk a little bit about where they stand right now in the national perspective of college football. Some of our accolades as we head into what could be the back half of the season. They could still have 7 games left to play. If they're going to get to the national championship. So we'll talk a little bit about that. What it takes to put a national championship program together. Wisconsin's doing some interesting things with Luke Fickell, deciding to maybe stay the course with a guy that isn't winning as much. So there's another side to that we'll get into. And then we'll obviously break down a little bit of what's going to happen Saturday night in Athens as Texas takes on Georgia. A bunch to get into, but we do want to do a couple things first. And Coach, I know you were the one that brought this up. I love this this week because we get to honor our veterans. And it's something that was always important to you as a head coach that you wanted to do when you were at Texas and North Carolina. So first and foremost, we just want to say thank you to all our veterans.
Yes, we
Man.
wouldn't have the freedom to be on this show or play college football or have the lives that we have if it wasn't for you. So pray for the families that have lost veterans. You veterans that served and fought for us. Thank you so much for helping us have the great country that we do. And we need to celebrate that every day, not
Yes.
just Veterans Day and the
Right.
week of Veterans Day. But we've had a lot of great ones. I talk to Nate Boyer all the time. He's in West Forces. So a
Best.
lot of Texas Longhorns and Texas Longhorn fans, shout out to you that have served to help our country.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Nate Boyer. What an absolute stud. I mean, what a cool story. I remember when he was coming through the program and we were kind of covering it like this is pretty amazing story. And then the story just kept getting better and better. And to this day, it still gets better and better for him.
It does. He is so special. I got a call from the Pentagon, and they said, "Can we use Nate Boyer for the summer because he's that valuable to us?" And I said, "Well, I kind of got that him. I can't make, but he is our deep snapper. But he was a walk-on defensive back. He came in and said." Am I going to be able to play here at defensive back? We had 6 draft choices
Yeah.
in the secondary, and I said, "No, you're slow, you can't catch. No, you're not going to play defensive back." And he said, "Well, I'm going to be your deep snapper because you just lost 2 deep snappers." I said, "Have you ever deep snapped?" He said, "Nope, never deep snapped a day of my life." But he decided to go to Afghanistan for the summer, and I said, "How are you going to deep snap?" He said, "I'm on YouTube it." And I'm gonna figure out how to deep snap, and I'll come back and be your deep snapper because over there, you're either getting shot at or you sit, and you're doing nothing. So he said, "I will have a lot of time to work on deep snapping."
Yeah.
So he couldn't even tell us where he was. He would email us after he left because of the summer, and I said, "Don't come back now without an arm or a hand." And he said, "Coach, I'm gonna go do the things the young ones don't wanna do."
Hmm.
And that's how special Nate is, and he came back, and the first snap he made was bad, and I said, "What's wrong with you?" And he said, I said, "You've been doing this all summer." He said, "You make me nervous." I said, "Well, number 1, I'm gonna be at about every game, so that's a problem." And I said, "Number 2, you've been shot
That's
at
what I
your
was
whole
just
life.
thinking. That's
So come on, man, this is a snap." And he said, "There's hundreds of thousands of people watching me do this. They
Right.
were watching me doing the other." So Nate,
Yes.
shout out to you, man. You're really
and then he ended up
special
doing it and being really good at it.
and didn't
Yeah.
have a bad one.
Yeah. He's a special person. It's
Yeah,
really
he is.
So the
I
deep snapper's name only gets mentioned when it's a bad snap.
correct. Yeah.
yeah, I can honestly say that some my brother-in-law and some cousins in my family are veterans, and, I mean, not Albert Harvey, but, Ahmad Hall, shout out to Ahmad Hall, special
Ahmad
player.
played great for us and you at Tennessee.
Yes, special player that, special person, period, that played with us and had the opportunity to play with him in Tennessee. But again, a lot of love to Nate because he the one helped me get over in Tanzania when we did the water bar. I thought I was just a guy who was just gonna do it, make it to the top, which I did, but Nate got me through it. So I appreciate you, Nate, for have given me the opportunity to go do the waterboard and do the Tanzania and walk one of the tallest mountains in the world. And thank him for, getting me past it because he been through some tough times like hiking and doing some stuff with that backpack on his back and getting his guys through it. So I appreciate Nate and have an opportunity to meet him as well.
Some really special connections you guys have made over the years that I know you never expected to make when you got into football.
Yes.
It's pretty cool to see. I do want to bring up something else. I always love to throw something at you guys early on that maybe you're not expecting, but this one I thought was pretty special when I saw this week. The on Friday, November 7th, it was the 13-year anniversary of Daryl Royal's death, and what came of that I thought was you honored him in a lot of different ways. But the Iowa State game, the first play, you come out in the wishbone and pitch it to Jackson Shipley, who throws it back to David Ash, who throws it to Greg Daniels for like a 50-yard gain. But I wanna go into what that moment was like for you, especially because you started at like the 3. Like, the whole plan was like, "Okay, we'll get the ball, we'll have a moment to do this." Now you're backed up in your own end zone and you gotta still you're just like, "We're still doing it. It doesn't matter." How did all this come about?
Well, when we lost coach, it's like losing a family member. He was around us all the time. He was fun. He took complicated things for me and made them
Yeah.
simple. And I'd ask him this 30-minute question. He'd say, "No, I wouldn't do that, and here's why." And he'd have about 2 words. And I said, "Good Lord, I wasted a lot of time trying to get that to you." When we lost him, it really crushed me.
Yeah.
I just I lost part of who I was. I lost part of the University of Texas. We lost part of our history, and he is the best coach to ever coach here, and he's the best coach that will ever have coached here. And he's just really, really a special man. So we said we were going to honor him. First, we were going to line up in the wishbone. Then we were going to uh, spread and run a play. And then we were going to line up in the wishbone. We were going to run the fullback. And then I said, "Nah, let's go for it, man." But our rule was if we were inside the 20, we would call it off and we wouldn't do it. Well, we're at the 3. And I think Major said, "Coach, it's off right." And I said, "No, what the heck? Run it, man. Let's run it." So David Ash they throw it, he hands it off, they throw it back to Ash and he throws it downfield for a huge play. And I knew we were going to win the game after that. And all I did was I said, "Thank you, coach. We're good moving forward." But
I saw that play this week, and I just thought that was so special. Like to think back, I remembered you telling us after the game. We said we were going to call it off, and then we were like, "Nah, just run it.
yeah,
It'll work," and it
And
worked.
that's what's special about Coach. He made us understand and respect the tradition and history of the people who came and walked on that campus. From, when I first got there, he made us all watch the movie of Freddie
Yeah.
Steinberg. Like we didn't know exactly who he was, but we knew once we walked on that campus who he was and Nobis and Street. I mean, he made sure that we know the history and tradition of Texas. So, it's respect to coach that he had a big respect for them. And when Coach Raw come to practice, you better get your stuff together because Coach like, you're not gonna make me look bad in front of the best coach that ever came on campus. So I appreciate him for doing that because a lot of us needed that as a young man coming on and to walk on campus and know what you finna be involved with and you finna make be a part of history. So I appreciate Coach for teaching us those things.
and Bob, Coach Royal was a great punter at Oklahoma as well. So he was always into the kicking game. He was always into punting. And we walked out and one day and he looked down, our punter was struggling. He said, I am sick of that guy being inconsistent. He's just not doing what he's supposed to do." And I said, "Coach, go down there and coach him. Just go down there and
Right.
get him straight, man. I've had it. I can't do it. I'm worn out. He makes me mad. We don't have anybody else. So go down." He goes down. He spends time. I see him doing this and moving around doing that. And he came back and said, "Hell, he got no chance. He won't listen to anybody." I said, Thank you, coach. That's what I thought too. So we're
Right.
at least we're on the same page."
That's good
Exactly.
to know. Listen, the fun part of this podcast is getting to hear stories like this, getting to hear some of the things we either never knew or bringing up some of the stuff that you've told us before, but we get to hear again. And we're going to do this a week from Friday. We've got a really special event coming up at Victory Lap in downtown Austin, November 21st. It's the night before the Arkansas Texas game. We're going to do a tailgate there from 6 to 9. The athletes' first tailgate tour coming to host the ultimate all-inclusive tailgate experience. It's free to guests. It's from 6 to 9 at Victory Lap in downtown Austin. We'll have food, drinks, games, prizes, giveaways, music, and a live episode of the Stampede. Vince will be there. Mack will be there. I'll be there. We got a special guest coming on too. Longhorn legendary running back Jamal Charles will join us as well. It's from 6 to 9. The podcast will take place around 7. We are really looking forward to that. It's going to be a really fun night to do something. We did this at Ohio State. Mac and Vince got a taste of this when we got to go up to Ohio State before the showdown to open the season. That was pretty fun. There were a ton of Ohio State guys that you guys knew well and got to see in person. And this one will be fun too for that same reason.
Well, and let me say for our fans that remember, Vince was really, really fast. Jamal was faster. Jamal was as fast as anybody had ever seen. That dart at Oklahoma State, I think he rushed for 291 yards against Nebraska
Yeah.
in the fourth
In the
quarter.
fourth quarter, 250
Yeah, and
up
then you
to
say
290,
you
yeah.
say, "Okay, idiot, why didn't you hand it to him more?"
Oh,
Yeah, mother, get it to him earlier, man.
we definitely got some stories when he get on. Oh my
Oh,
God.
oh, oh, yeah.
You watch those go back and watch those, the Oklahoma State game, the Nebraska game, the Oklahoma run that he had.
Yes.
He runs away from people. Like, it's not even a contest when he gets in the open field.
No, he made everybody else look slow.
Yeah.
Yes, he
And
did.
because compared to him, they were.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
and he was a great player, and I'm so proud of him because he's a young guy that didn't have an easy upbringing, and he overcame so many things, and now he works with Special Olympics. He's one of the great players in the NFL for the Chiefs,
Yeah.
and I see him playing golf about every day at Spanish Oaks. And he said, I'm gonna play with him, but I said the other day, I said, "We need to play," and he said, "Coach, I hit it a long way," and I thought, "Yeah, you're saying I don't. I got it. Fair. That's fair. You're fast, I'm not. You hit it a long way, I don't. I got it. I've got it. We're not talking about, the Jimmies and Joes here. We're talking about a difference in ability. I got that.
He
He is
said
an
he playing
athlete.
fast golf, coach.
He plays fast everything.
Fast
That
everything.
that
Hey,
that
no
is
better way to play golf than fast too.
no,
Yeah.
no, no,
Let's
no,
go.
no.
Let's go. Let's pick it.
No, I think golf should be 12 holes. Usually, I don't practice and I don't loosen up, so I'm usually stiff between 1 and 8. I'm really good between 8 and 12, and then I get tired. But those 4 holes, man, I am really good for 4
You know,
holes.
that's something Jack Nicklaus has talked about
Yeah.
shortening the game. You know, it's too expensive. It takes too long. The things that draw people away from golf. Not that we're going to get into a golf
No,
podcast
but
here, but I think there's
No,
significance.
and I wanna Vince knocks at 8 miles too,
Oh,
but I wanna move up and I wanna get a bigger hole.
Yeah.
So I got this thing figured out. Now, I don't like the word traps because they're setting you up for traps. I don't like the word rough. It's supposed to be fun, so why go to traps and why go to rough? And then I
Right.
remember Harvey Pinnock said one time, I said, "I don't like hitting out of the sand." He said, "Don't hit in." Said, "I got it."
And we
Cheap.
love the sand, the beach,
Yeah.
that type of sand.
He's a good teacher for a lot of reasons. That's a really
Yes.
good. That's a great advice right there. Just don't hit it in the trap. You don't have to worry about getting out.
Take that aim.
Good advice. Take that aim.
Take that aim.
2005. You guys know it well. All right, let's talk a little Texas football as the Longhorns get set for this showdown with Georgia. What a finish to the season. I mean, you think about where this team was 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago coming out of Kentucky, and the world was coming to an end, and now here they are with everything in front of them, everything they could want, 7-2, 4-1 in the SEC, a chance to get to 7-1 with wins at Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas A&M at home. So let's start with this. Vince, when you look at this Texas team right now, what do you think the identity of this team is? And is their identity okay for where they are right now moving into these final 3 games?
I feel like the identity is knowing who they are. They didn't know who they was at first. So to me, I think coach did a great job of solidifying where is my playmakers at. Uh, at the beginning of the season, we were still trying to figure out who is that guy. We knew Arch was talented, but we knew he had to work. We knew Wisner was a big time running back, but he was hurt, and we going with a young offensive line. We knew uh, big receiver Wingo. We know he can do some things. We had a lot of things, but we didn't know their identity and how can they can be a playmaker for the team. So to me, I feel like they are solidifying that okay, if I can get the ball when Wingo's hand, he can break like he's been doing at any moment. We got Livingstone. He can make the deep throws. We can throw the big post routes with him. And you can use Mosley and Moore in the slot with the short game, option routes, middle reads, stuff like that, tight end. Even we didn't know too much about what's my guy, the kickoff return, Nibbit.
Ryan
We didn't
Niblett. Yep.
Yeah, we didn't know too much about him. Now we throwing him in the offense knowing that we can do little trick routes with him. So I feel like coach is starting to figure out that point of that identity, knowing who our playmakers are on the offense side of the ball, that can make big plays and make, big runs and make some positive things for us. So to see that, that's a plus for us going into the second half of the season because of the fact we didn't know who those guys were at the time. And then on the defense side of the ball, you got a handful of guys that you can go with, just to see Muhammad blitz from cornerback. That's something when we was playing in 2005, we blitz our corners a lot. And they can believe in the DBs over top that we can bring an extra guy in the box to blitz because the guys are trying to run the ball on us. So I just really feel like they understand who they are now. But I feel like the coaches understand who their playmakers that can make big time plays on this like second half of the season.
Huge to get Michael Taff and Jelani McDonald back at safety this week as they
Yes.
return for this Georgia game. I mean, you could tell against State and a little bit against Vanderbilt, the communication is so key for that backside, and Michael Taff is the leader on that defense at that front in that back secondary. Coach, what about you? What do you think some of the identity issues and that they've kind of solved, and as they move forward, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I think Vince is all over it.
Yeah,
It's a very young team with a lot of inexperience and then injuries. So it's taken a while to figure it all out. And then Archie's inexperience with the hype coming in put more pressure on him. And he's playing as good as anybody in the country when we block for him. If he has time, the man makes plays. He's running, he's using his legs, which Vince talked about early. You look at it, there's not a Bijan Robinson. There's not. So we're growing this offense, and you're looking for the guy, and then what you do is you figure out in the bye week who the guys are, and then how many touches do you get? We used to think we talked about Jamal Charles. How many times does he need to touch the ball during the game? How many can he? Can he touch it 20 times? And that's 5 throws, flares, and or an option route, and then we'll hand it to him another 15. So how many does Wingo get? How many does Wisner get? How many spreading it out all over the wide receivers? The tight ends haven't been a factor this year. They usually are with Sark's offense. Are they going to be a factor in the next 3 weeks? But I feel like that's one of the coolest things. Everybody's talked about play selection and the offensive coordinator, the guy calls the plays, gets beaten up more than anybody. He's the hero sometimes, but he usually gets beaten up.
All right.
I remember early in my career calling plays for Coach Switzer. And I really like people that are nice to me. Coach Switzer was really nice to me. He hired me, and I remember the first game I was calling plays, and Coach Switzer didn't wear a headset, but he'd go down and talk to the receiver coach. Tell Mack to call this. He'd go down and tell the running back coach. Tell Mack to call this. So I finally said, "Would you put Coach Switzer on the phone?" And I mean, I lost it. And Vince has heard me lose it before. I don't do well when I lose it. And Coach Switzer got on the phone and I said, "Can you please just shut up and leave me alone? If you want to call the plays, you call 'em. But you hired me to call them. I can't call plays and have a full conversation with you and everybody on that sideline. So leave me alone. Just leave me alone." So he got real quiet. I forgot they were all on the headsets too. So after the game, we won the game. Coach Switzer came to me and said, "Ever been yelled at on the headset before by an assistant?" I said, "I'm really sorry." I lost it. I didn't think about them being on the headset." And he said, "But you're right. I'm gonna let you call them, but you better call them right." But when you think about Steve giving up play selection, that's what happens. Coach Switzer called him, and he'd called them for years, and it wasn't going the way he would have called them. So it's a hard thing. So now Steve and the offensive staff have had time to go back and reevaluate everything they're doing, get their tendencies, and bye week is you break tendencies. So this is so cool. Now we talked about, oh, wing goes flare, wing goes flare. Now we're gonna pump it and throw deep,
Mhm.
and they're gonna be about 13 after wingo. I mean, that's what you get that's fun, but it is just, self-evaluation is really fun. I've gone back and watched some of our podcasts and say, "What can we do better for our fans?" That's what you do. You tweak what you do to make it better, and you
Correct.
can always get better at what you do. Defensively, they're stopping the run. They had trouble in the secondary last week with Vanderbilt. A lot of guys are hurt. That's good experience.
For sure.
Those guys will be more ready to come in at Georgia if they have to than they were last week. But the front is stopping the run and getting sacks, and that's what they do. And all those things here down the stretch are going to be really really important. And kicking game has been better than anybody expected. And usually, what you do in the kicking game is there a fake we haven't used yet. There's got to be a fake that changes the game. A&M used a fake from about the -35 last week that was huge for a big play. So, is there a fake on field goal? Is there a fake on punt? What is the advantage for us with the smallest difference in advantages here to win over the next 3 weeks? And that's what you do when you self evaluate.
34 sacks for this Texas team, five, at least five in the last 4 games. They lead the country, tied for first in the country with Texas A&M as the Aggies caught up to Texas this week. And then you look at Arch Manning. I mean, what the growth that he's shown to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. He's the first quarterback since Sam Ellinger in 2018 to do that at Texas. So he continues to grow as well. Vince, when you're coming, we talked so much last week about being the leader during the bye week and making sure your guys get through the weekend okay, make sure you make the right decisions. You're out of the bye week now. How much kind of full head of steam do you think these guys feel knowing we've got 3 weeks with everything on the table to make this happen?
Yeah, as a leader standpoint, you gotta feed that, not feed it, but you gotta constantly remind them about, what we need to do at practice. It's all about preparation. Like we just all spoke about, we know who our playmakers are. We know who the guy's going to make plays for us. Now we have to understand this as a unit now. That we can't be doing some stuff off the field that's going to be a distraction. We got to be understand. We got to be tuned in to the bigger goal now, and we have done everything we're supposed to do to make it to this point with all the the odds against us. So we gotta make sure now we like, okay, that's finished now. We got to this point that we not supposed to be at because of the fact we did do some bad things that we had to grow as a team, but we fought together to get to this point. So now the leaders have to talk about this every day in the team meeting room before we have not, well, no, I mean not in the team meeting room, but position meeting room after we leave our meetings. We have to break down as a position. Hey, break down. Let's focus today. Whatever it may be, we got to have a message every day to help motivate each and last one of us to finish and understand the whole message that our head coach is telling us, or so we can take care of our point, what we need to do.
Sark is 13-4 coming out of the bye week. Mac, you were 22-5 at Texas coming out of the bye week. What is it about that just gives you a chance to breathe and say, okay, here we are. We self scout. We look through some of the things we need to know about us, and then we go from here. What is it about the bye week that kind of you really took advantage of?
Bob, a lot of coaches will go beat them up in the bye week. Let's go back to spring practice. We got to get tougher. We got to do this. There's more guys hurt during bye week than any other time of the season except preseason.
Especially late in the year.
Late in the year, they're tired. They're not as focused because they don't play this weekend. But I always felt like coach the young ones, teach the older ones. Get the older ones fresh. Vince said it, get in bed. Uh, maybe scrimmage the young ones late if they're not on special teams, and start working them toward spring practice and toward playing a little bit more at the end of the season. But Sark walked in that meeting on Sunday because I've done this so many times. So excited. Number one, nobody got in trouble. When you get up Sunday morning and you don't have a call at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, you're saying, "Thank you, God, they're all safe." And then when they all get back and you get your text from your coaches, they're all back safe. That's huge for the coach. But then you walk in today and you said, "Man, we got a 3-game season. We got a playoff left. 3-game season, starting over, fresh, 0-0. We got to be 1-0 after we leave Georgia." And last year doesn't matter. The 2 games we lost last year doesn't matter, not a factor. This is about this team on this Saturday at 7:30 in Athens, Georgia.
Yep.
And that's so much fun because the guys are fresh and they're excited and they've got hope. There's a bunch of teams that are already out of the playoffs. And I hate that about the playoffs because they're trying to get to some bowl. There's some that can't even go to bowls. And now they're on the phone with their agents talking about transfer. I mean, that's just facts.
Where we are.
Facts.
That's facts. That's where we are.
Such a
But
distraction.
But for this team to have a 3-week playoff, it's so exciting, and they're fresh, and there are fewer injuries than they've had. They're back to full speed and playing a team that they had trouble with last year. So this is a notch. This is a chance to step up and do better than last year's team did. And by beating Georgia, you've got a really good chance to get in the playoff. And if you look at Oregon this week, had to kick a field goal with 6 seconds left to beat Iowa on the road. You look at Indiana, they were cooked, and Mendoza hit the
Omar Cooper.
Omar Cooper. What an unbelievable catch!
It's
Oh,
unbelievable.
it's some
At the end of
unbelievable.
the game. I mean, we didn't know if it was good or not. We had to watch the replay, and that's why replay matters. That game might have been called differently 5-6 years ago. But you're going to have to win close games to get to the playoff and have a chance to win a national championship. And I go back to Texas team right now is a lot like Ohio State last year. Ohio State had 2 losses, and they win the national championship, and everybody wanted them fired. So Texas has a great chance here, starting the season over, going to Athens this weekend. It will be a great game, not a good game, and I can't wait to watch it.
You mentioned struggling with Georgia, what Texas did last year. Obviously lost here, went down, big at the half, and then lost 30-15, then lost the SEC championship game in overtime. Everybody has struggled with Georgia. Nobody is good in the SEC. Nobody in this country is good against Georgia, maybe Alabama. Georgia is 35-1 at home in its last 36 games, 51-2 in its last 53. So the challenge is immense, but it's there.
Yeah,
and everything's on the table for them.
And they're not as good this year as
Right.
they've been.
Right.
Their players aren't as good. They, like Texas, they've recruited so well. They've lost so many great players to the NFL that they're coming down to an overtime at Tennessee. They're coming down to getting beaten in a close game by Alabama at home. So this isn't just the automatic Georgia walk out there and you're so much better, you're going to roll over them. That's why this game will come down to a few plays on Saturday night. And the margin of error is so small, like Vince had in the NFL. You watch those NFL game last night, 10-7. You start watching, it's a fumble. It's a false start. It's an overthrown ball. I mean, when we go in on Sunday after games like this in the end, you go back to 5 to 7 plays on Saturday night that will make a difference in this ball game. And that's it. And you can say, we didn't play well. No, there's 5 plays we didn't play well. And that changes the direction of this game and therefore the season.
And it was really fun to listen to Sark this week because he said, Anthony Hill and Michael Taff are going to play 70 to 75 plays, but there are guys on this team, they're going to play 1 to 8 plays in this game. And one of those 8 plays could be the difference. So you have to go in fully prepared every week and every down. Every snap matters in every way. And I think that's a really good lesson for some of those young kids on this Texas team. All right, we've got much more to get into. We'll talk a little bit more and break down this Georgia game and some of the stuff Mack was talking about with maybe they aren't as good as they've been and why they're playing so many close games this year. And up next, we're going to talk a little bit about what it takes to build a national championship program in this day and age of college football. That's all coming up. This is the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this. College football not feeling as juicy as it once did? Let me put you onto something that'll shake up your Saturday and every other day of the week. Because now that Wendy's has crispy chicken tendies and a powerhouse lineup of new sauces, it's time you transferred to the hottest team in the league.
That's right, Team Tendies. Wendy's Tendies. They're making their undeniable rookie season one for the books. Enjoy first string flavor from some 5-star recruits. Rep your own new favorite team everywhere you go, but make sure to cheer with your mouth closed.
Take it to the end zone of savory sauces like honey barbecue, creamy ranch, and the new Wendy's signature sauce to experience a total taste bud blitz of flavor. It's time to join a team that won't upset you with an upset. Taste the phenom that's gracing the gridiron with its juicy, crispy, and tendery tendencies.
Don't fumble the bag. Commit to Team Tendies and call the most delicious plays in the playbook. All right, huddle up. Tendies on three. Tendies on three. 1, 2, 3. Tendies. Let's do this.
Wendy's Chicken Tendies, now at participating U.S. Wendy's. Support for the Stampede comes from Google. Being a college football fan these days means you're part analyst, part GM, and part rules expert. The game is just so much more complex than it used to be. One minute you're trying to decode X's and O's, the next you're debating the transfer portal. This is what college football fandom's all about. And AI mode in Google search is perfect for it. It's built to handle all those nuanced, complicated questions that go way beyond a simple stat.
You can ask it to do a deep dive on strategy, like break down how the spread offense compares to the pro style offense based on philosophy and pace. Or then you can pivot to more off the field elements and ask, what are the main reasons there have been more transfers in college football in recent years?
You can even get real-time analysis, like asking, how have this year's college football rule changes impacted the season so far?
AI mode will post all that info together for you. So whether you're wondering about a complex scheme, a new rule, or why your favorite team rosters look so different every year, you can just ask Google.
Welcome back to the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns alongside Mack Brown and Vince Young. I'm Bob Ballou. We welcome you to rate and review us online. I know Mack and Vince love to get on Twitter and TikTok and talk to our fans and comment. At the Stampede UT is where you can get that. And you can get this podcast anytime, anywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, Apple TV, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. Good first segment. A lot of really fun talk about different aspects of where Texas is right now. So let's talk about maybe some accolades for this Texas team as they head down the stretch, because it is interesting. This offense, the way it's unfolded this year, obviously the defense has been good from the start, but the way this offense is unfolded makes some of these questions kind of interesting. So Vince, let's start with you. Who's the MVP of this Texas offense so far?
Arch Manning.
You're asking a
I know.
quarterback
I
that's
know.
very successful who's the MVP?
Yes, I go with Arch because of the fact the adversity he's going through and the way he's finishing the season like us people who play the game knew he would, but it needed a little bit more time. But I give it to Arch because he just continued to get better and better, and his stats showing it. And for a guy to finish the last 2 games how he did, that he could have gave up like some of the game, like the first early season, through interception. Not saying he gave up, but making better decisions, these type of things, going through his adversity and going to these real time game situations have taught him, to protect the ball more. If it's not there, throw it away, give my defense back the ball. These type of things as you grow as a quarterback, you just get better with your decision making. And I really feel like because of the fact of his decision making in the last 2 games is why Texas was back in the game and winning the game when it all mattered at the end in overtime.
Quarterback gives it to the quarterback. Coach, who do you give it to?
The quarterback.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no question. He touches the ball every time. He's the leader in the locker room. He's the guy with his body language and confidence that leads comebacks at Mississippi State,
Yeah.
at Kentucky. If he had not made the plays with his arm and his feet at Mississippi State, Texas would have lost the game. He absolutely made some plays in that game that were wild plays. And Vince and Colt said it best, and they've lived it. It was a process for him. We put the name ahead of the process, and that was unfair to him. Now that the team's getting better, The offensive line's getting better. The receivers are healthy. The running backs are healthy. He now can make the plays that he needs to lead this team. And in my opinion, this team would not be where they are today without him at quarterback.
Okay, I think it's a great answer. It is Arch Manning, but I do think there's something to be said for DJ Campbell. I think to play as well as he's played this year, you're not going to give the MVP to a guard. I get that, but to hold that offensive line together, to be the leader in that locker room when everything's falling apart around you at offensive line, DJ Campbell's been a constant force for that team. He's been the guy, and he's getting better and better. Sark talked about that this week. He continues to play his best football. I think there's something to be said for what DJ Campbell has done for that offense this year. Again, not the MVP, I get that, but I think there's something to be said for what he's done.
I agree. If you're going to draft,
You're going to start with Arch.
just facts.
Just
You
facts.
didn't ask who had
I'm-
played good. You asked who was the MVP.
Yeah, you said that. But
Facts.
I agree.
Just
I do got a lot of respect for the offensive line. They have came a long way, and
Yeah,
and
I love Justin Blaylock and Casey
Yeah.
Studdard. If I'm drafting, I take Vince.
yeah.
Jay
Vince, I
Scott.
think Vince would be a good pick. I
Facts.
do.
Yeah.
I think Vince would be a good pick.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. Vince, who's your defensive MVP? I think this one's probably the toughest questions we're gonna get to.
Yeah.
Who is you can't say two names. Who is the one defensive MVP right now? Go ahead.
Oh
BY.
man, that's tough. Mr. Hill.
Yeah.
Shoot. He's the one calling the plays. He's the one getting the plays, getting guys lined up, making sure everybody where they need to be at. When you got a guy like that young, it's and still doing it on a high level, and making sure what I was saying last week, to keep guys disciplined is not easy. When you got so many different characters on the football team, is very tough. So for him to be the one of the top the leaders on that defensive side of the ball, and he calls the plays for them and making sure everybody's lined up and making sure the communication is happening, I give it to Mr. Hill for
Yeah,
me.
it's a great point. Ethan Burke said on Monday, he was like, what's your relationship like with Anthony Hill, whatever. He's like, I just turn around and then he tells me what to do and then I go do it. Like it's kind of it's an easy
They
thing for
believe
Ed.
in him. Yeah.
Let me just go do this. I love the pick of Anthony Hill. Would you agree with Vince?
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Taft would have been in that conversation. He got an injury. It set him back a little bit, but we talked a month ago about you've got to be strong down the middle. And Anthony's in the middle, man. They can't get away from him. You can go away from Ethan. You can go away from Colin. You can't go away from Anthony because he's looking you right in the face as that quarterback. He goes where you go, and he's tough. He's smart. He's a great leader, and those kids really believe in him. So I'm definitely going Anthony Hill.
Yeah, I think after the slow start, Colin Simmons has come on in a big way, and Ethan Burke has as well. But I think Anthony Hill is the player in the middle that you look to as a defensive player. And again, Colin may make a case for this by the time we're done in these next three games.
Yeah,
I think it's Anthony.
But Colin can't get the sacks unless it's second long and third and long, and you got to stop the run to do that.
Sure.
And Anthony's been huge part of stopping that run and plugging the middle.
All right, VY, what player has surprised you the most to this point positively this year for Texas?
I gotta go with Niblet.
Yeah.
That young kid, go to practice and I just see him just waiting his turn. And for a kid to do that's mentally very strong for me. Because yeah, you got all these guys playing in front of you, and you like, I know I can do that. And he's been waiting on his opportunity. Sometimes I was a little upset with him myself, like, why are you fair catching that? Like, when I played, you got Aaron Ross and Selvin Young and Ramon Taylor. If they was to call fair catch, I'm talking about them on the sideline. Like, dude, I know Coach Tully told you not to do it. Man, to hell with that, man. I I believe in you so much. I feel like you're gonna run him back every time. Even when they are making a good coverage, I still feel like that. My confidence level in those guys, I thought they was gonna get at least a good return. So just to see him being very calm and just doing his job, you don't hear him do the woo-ha, you don't hear him do none of that. He just a kid to me has just been sitting there just waiting. And he is starting to coaches, everybody's starting to see the talent that he has because he's been patient and patiently waiting. So I go with it.
really cool to see Ryan Niblets, what he's done for this team this year, to go Oklahoma, Mississippi State, Kentucky, Mississippi State in back-to-back-to-back weeks and have the impact that he's had. It's been really cool. How about you?
Yeah, I sit here and I wanted to be a little bit like you, about Cole Hudson moving the guards really helped.
Huge. That's been
Uh,
huge.
Livingstone,
Yeah.
5 touchdown catches, went on 80 something yards, really cool. But Vince is reading my notes. It's Ryan Niblett has changed games. We didn't know if special teams were gonna be any good, and they
Yes.
were a huge question mark at the start of the season. Not only is he helping win games, he's changing scores.
Yeah.
And we might be sitting here looking at a different record if it hadn't been for those 3 punt returns for sure, 1 down to the 5 against Kentucky and then 2 touchdowns. And
And if he would have kept fair catching it.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, well, he heard you.
Yeah,
He
exactly. I'm
The
like,
head
stop
coach
doing
is
that,
saying,
man.
"Fair catch it if it's in question." Vince is saying, "Don't be a
Don't
coward.
think about it.
Don't
Let's
you be
go,
a
baby.
coward." I'm saying, "Vince, you go play quarterback, you go coach quarterbacks, let our guys coach special teams." I said, "I got it, coach." And then walking off, he'd say, "Selvin, catch it, man. Don't
Go get it. Go
yeah,
get
go
it.
get it. Go get it."
I wrote down a bunch of names. Yeah, Parker Livingston, I'm with you on him. He's been really good this year. Grayson Littleton to play as much as he's played as a true freshman
It's true.
on that back end has
Yeah.
been really good. Ty Anthony Smith continues to come on. Hero Canoe and those guys at defense, all those guys at defensive tackle have been really good. Lance Jackson's really coming on too at edge. He's another guy. And Brad Spence, both those guys are really starting to come on for Texas. So I think there are a bunch of names
So
you
you
could throw
got
out, but
thir you got
nobody's. I have
13 that
13 guys, but there's nobody that's made the difference that Ryan Niblett's made. I think you guys are exactly right on that. All right, final one. Is there an X player down the stretch that can add a different dimension to this team? BY?
Ex-player?
don't look at my
That's a
notes.
tough one, yeah.
Don't look at my notes.
I just that's a tough one. I gotta think about it. Go to coach first real
Okay, we'll
quick.
go to coach.
Let me hear his notes real quick.
Yeah, let me here. I gotta have notes. You don't have to have notes. You can remember, Steven.
Just from my straight.
Now, I've got one on each side of the ball. You just mentioned him. Lance Jackson's getting better and better and better. He can make some plays to change it. And I still think that Jack Indris,
Yeah,
the tight ends out there, it's something Sark has always done so well. It hasn't worked in that play selection this year. That may be one of the tweaks.
yeah.
Here as you start looking at what we changed for the next 3 games, and especially at Georgia, to help get it to the tight end quickly because of the pass rush.
I've got 2 names. I answered it originally with injuries, and then I went with Emmett Mosley because I think he's come on really strong for this team, and he's been since he's gotten healthy, he's been a difference maker. I mean, Arch is finding him in some really big spots, and I think down the stretch here, you might see a little more of Emmett Mosley. Emmett Mosley's name pop up. I think DeAndre Moore obviously is the experienced guy, but I think Emmett Mosley, we might see a little bit more of him. All right,
Every time Moore touches it, I get excited.
I know.
He's a he's got that Ramonce Taylor burst, man. He can get from here to there really fast.
I think that needs to be our Vince. We're going to change our text message every time we get a text message. That's going to be our new text message tone. That
I like speed. I like
I
getting
love it.
from
I
here
like
to
that.
there faster than they do. Then you say, "Good job, Vince. Good job."
that's
Oh, that was
Speed
good.
kills.
Oh,
Man.
great. Be fast, Jamal.
Speed
Vince said it.
kills.
Vince said it. Speed kills.
Speed kills
Uh,
the
okay.
other team.
Let's talk about what it takes to build a national championship contender these days. Wisconsin is kind of bucking the trend now in college football. They're going to keep Luke Fickell. They're not going to fire him and pay the buyout and do everything. They feel like if they stick with Luke, maybe they can keep some of that money, move it toward NIL, start to change their program a little bit back to what we've all seen Wisconsin be over the years with Barry Alvarez and Paul Christ and these guys that have won a bunch of games at Wisconsin. Coach, what's the hardest part of this as a coach looking down on it now? Because there's so many factors that have never existed before in college football. And what do you think of what Wisconsin's going to do to try to change what they're doing?
Number one, I think fans are going to have to adjust their thinking because Vince said it. We're headed more toward the NFL. There's going to be more losses. There'll be an 8-4 team in the playoffs at some point here.
At some
Maybe
point,
this
yeah.
year, but at some point there may be an 8-4 team then win the national championship. And we're firing coaches for losing 2 and 3 games. So when you look at where we're headed, the competitive balance for those at the top is very minute. I mean, it's just a the smallest of errors are winning and losing games. So fans are going to have to get used to that. That you're not going to have a 13-0 team anymore, most likely. It could happen, could be Ohio State this year, but it could be Indiana this year, but most likely it's not gonna happen. Now with NIL, we're seeing an Indiana that it's a non-brand football school that can compete for a national championship. We're seeing Vanderbilt competing at a much higher level. We're seeing Texas Tech compete at a much higher level. Texas Tech's a top 10 team. They haven't been that consistently in the past. Joey's doing a good job, but with money and a good job, you can now win a national championship at Texas Tech or Indiana or Vanderbilt.
Texas Tech could get defensive players that
They're
they've never had
yeah,
before.
and five stars that
Mhm.
everybody wants. And then if you're going to fire your coach the way the money is right now, you better know who you're gonna get. I don't think Wisconsin knows who they want, or they probably wouldn't keep Luke right now. But smart of them to say, "We've got a guy. We think he's a good coach. We haven't given him the money he needs. Let's give him support. Let's give him the money. Let's give him a certain number of years, and it's on him. Because if you don't give someone the money now, you're not going to win." We said you can win some games, you can have some good years. You're not going to have a good program without money. So, but most people do not fire the coach unless they know who they're going to get. And then the three of us were talking earlier off camera and said, well, but they're not going to pay buyouts as high as they used to. If you're going to get Lane Kiffin, you're going to pay a high buyout.
Correct.
So it's going to be the lesser experienced coach that wants the job. That experienced guy, he going to be in charge, and he and his agent are going to tell you what he wants, and he's not coming unless you give it to him. So we're all over the place a little bit here. We're talking about Ron Rivera as a general manager. We're talking about Andrew Luck as a general manager. Well, I'm not going to take a job unless I can hire the general manager. At my age, I want him to help me with things, but he's not making decisions that I'm going to have to live with.
That's
That's
what
why
we were saying. The veteran coaches aren't going to
the
take these
veteran
jobs
coaches
with.
aren't going to take them,
Yeah.
and those are the ones that a lot of these guys want. It's interesting to me, and I was an assistant that got a head job at Appalachian State, but when you're taking an assistant right now as a head coach and firing an experienced head coach, you are taking a risk. There's a lot of risk. He hasn't done it yet, and there is no book that tells you how to be a head coach. It is called trial and error, man. You got to mess up and learn from it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't do that again. Ooh, God, how did I do that? I mean, that's and then handling the pressure of the media and the pressure of the fans, it's all different. But I do think that people better know who they're going to hire, and unless you can hire somebody better than you got, and you know he's going to win more than the one you got, you better stick with what you got.
So all that said, Vince, let me ask you from a player's perspective. Obviously, as a player now, we've talked about how you can go from one school to the other to the other to the other, but as a player, how difficult is it with what's going on with coaches, with what's going on with NIL and the transfer portal? How difficult right now is it to be a player in some of these situations?
Yeah, it's difficult as hell because you don't know what to do, and you got to sit back and sometimes some of these players will make a decision where they're going to early. Now it's kind of like you got to back up for a second and
Okay.
let's let everything play out to let it go as much as you can to the end to make a decision because of the fact you don't know what's going on. And like Coach just said, everything is about to be a copycat lead. What you see over here, I'm gonna try to do that over here. If they doing this, I'm gonna try to do that, and it's making it confusing from a player standpoint because you don't know who you finna play for. Uh, and when Coach Stark, he's one of the guys that's been saying it. Like he hates that he has to build a relationship with a kid and then the kid is gone.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I loved about Coach Brown and Andy Reid and some of the guys that I had the opportunity to play for and my high school coach. They build relationships with you as a young man. They already know that you're a talented kid, that's what you can do and what you can bring to the table. But I thought it was awesome that he got a chance to get to know me, cared about the things that I care about, my family, my sisters, my brothers, my best friends, things that was important to me at that age. Now it's like you do that, but now the kid got some more information and now he's gone. So it's tough for a player to make a decision right now because you don't know what's going on in there. Everything is like juggling right now, like Coach just said. So it's gonna be tough, especially at age what 18, 17 years old.
Right.
That is extremely tough. You know, and if you don't have the right people in his ear or her ear, it's gonna be some of these kids gonna be like, it's time for me to stop thinking about this. Because if you're not one of those type of players that can see that opportunity, it's gonna be time for you to start doing what Andrew Luck did. Left the game for a better opportunity in the business world because of the fact it's a juggle out here that you out here putting your body on the line and you don't have the same loyalty that you're putting in it, that you don't know who you're going to be playing for, and you putting your body basically on the line, and you're not going to get that type of opportunity that you deserve.
Bob, we're treating these guys and ladies as professionals now because we're paying them.
Mhm.
We have no amateurism, but they're not professionals emotionally and mentally.
Right.
And that's what Vince is talking about. The teams that are having transactional recruiting are not doing as well as the ones that combine the relationships and they have enough money to keep their team together. But the ones that are bringing in 50 or 60, it's tough. It's tough. Don't even know each other. It's like the NFL when you look at the guy next to you and say, where are you from? Who are you? Instead of Vince, who's got buddies that are lifetime friends,
Right.
that are guys that he grew up with at Texas. And I can name 15 of them today that he can call any time of the day or night and ask them for help, and they're gonna be there to help VY. That's just it. We're losing that, and that's a shame in college football. And it was one of the things that I loved the most was getting to know the guys. You're gonna have bad days, whether it's your girlfriend, you flunked a test, you got hurt, you made a bad play, you lost a game. And on those bad plays, I've got to be able to talk to Vince to pick him up, but be hard enough on him to tell him what he's got to do better. And he's got to trust me enough to handle it. And that doesn't happen as much when you've got 70 transfers or 60 transfers.
Right.
It's just, again, it's transactional. Vince and I love Vince. I don't like Vince. I love Vince. I love who he is. My life wouldn't be as good without him, and he knows that. And if he asks me a hard question, I'm gonna say, "Now, you're not gonna like this, but here's what I think. Here's my opinion." And he loves me enough and trusts me enough that he's gonna take it as me trying to help him instead of me being critical of him. And same with me. If we had he came in about the music, he can't anytime Vince thought something was better for the team, he would come to me and say, "Coach, let me ask you something. Why don't we do this?" And then I would either explain to him why we can't, but then it was my job to try to figure out if we can't do what Vince and the team wanted, what's the next closest thing we can do? All right, we can't do this, but we can do this. We can't play that music, but we can play it cleaned up. And that's the relationship you have to win a national championship. You can have a non-trusting locker room and win a national championship. You can have it on Sunday where defense is pointing fingers, offense is pointing fingers. One of the great things I like this year about the Texas football team, the defense never pointed fingers at the offense. They always took up for them. And that gives you a chance for everybody to grow up. And you got to win 2 of the 3 phases every week. When you can start winning 3 of 3, you got a chance to win all the games.
It's really interesting if you think about a guy like Lane Kiffin, just using him as the example, because he's the guy mentioned probably for the most jobs right now. You think about signing day coming up. If you're a kid, are you committing to Ole Miss or are you committing to Lane Kiffin? And if he leaves Ole Miss, then are you going with him to LSU or Florida or wherever he decides to go? And then it changes the entire complexity of that class for whatever school it is, whether it's LSU or Florida or Ole Miss. And this is just we're in a very interesting year, specifically this year, with as many coaches as have been fired, and then however many coaches are going to be let go between now and the end of the year, and then what the next step is for all of them.
But do
And
you get away? Do you stop doing signing day?
Right. If you're a kid, why do you sign? I mean,
Right.
but you can't
wait to wait
you
to
can
see.
transfer now.
But you,
If you don't like it, you go somewhere else. I mean,
yeah,
it's just that easy. But I hate it for the coaches right now who are successful, especially the group of 5 coaches. But I hate it that they're having to answer questions in front of their team, in front of their fans, when their agents are talking to people. How do you answer it right?
right.
You can't give the right answer. If you say nothing, they say, "He said nothing, so he didn't deny it." If you say you're not gonna go and then the deal gets better and you go, you're a liar. Your players are all looking at you saying, "Look, man," just like with Steve, it breaks. He's talking to the NFL. Look, I got to go in and say, "Look, hey, let's beat
4 hours
Mississippi.
before kickoff,
Let's
by the
beat
way.
Mississippi State. Come on, just don't worry about that." But I ended up saying myself, "Look, I'll look around at the end of the year. You look around at the end of the year, but between now and then, all of our lives are better if we win the games, and then we'll figure out what's best for everybody at the end." And that's kind of where we are now, especially with firings after 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Right. And yeah, everything that goes into this, it's so much to get into. And the good thing is we've got another 5, 6, 7 weeks till the end of the year, and we're going to get more into this as things develop and as some of these storylines continue to grow. But for now, we're going to take a break because we've got to get to Mac Brown's favorite segment. The underdogs of the week is coming up
The
next.
playoffs?
Our underdogs of the week coming up next, plus a preview of Texas, Georgia.
My man let me down again. I can't believe it. I couldn't when Indiana won, I wasn't happy because he didn't throw for the yards. Come on, Mendoza.
All right, we'll do that when we come back. This is the Stampede
funny.
podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this.
Are you ready to get off the bench and into the game? Then head over to Underdog to get in on all the action.
Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash.
This week on Underdog, I'm looking at 2 games. We're going to start with Texas, Georgia, and I'm going to go Arch Manning higher than 220.5 yards passing as he's thrown for 300 his last 2 games. I'm also going to look at that Pittsburgh Notre Dame game. I'm going to go with freshman quarterback Mason Heinchel to go higher than 264.5 yards as Pittsburgh takes on Notre Dame. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code STAMPEDE to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code STAMPEDE. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. From Longhorns to startups, Branded Bills has you covered. Whether you're repping burnt orange pride or building a brand of your own, nothing tells your story like a custom hat. Branded Bills is a proud sponsor of Texas Athletics with licensed Longhorn headwear that holds up from the tailgate to the stadium and through the celebration.
Bob, don't forget the sidelines and the golf course, too.
You know it, Coach. You have to look good to play good.
But Branded Bills doesn't stop there. They specialize in custom headwear that helps teams, companies, and communities showcase who they are with premium fit, finish, and style.
So whether you're a Longhorn fan, a business founder, or just someone who wants to stand out, check out Branded Bills just like mine's.
Explore their officially licensed UT collection or design your own custom hat built just for you. Branded Bills, from Longhorns to startups, licensed pride, custom style. You know that feeling when your team wins? It's electric. You're pacing the room, texting your group chat, yelling like you called the game-winning play yourself. Now imagine that winning energy hits right as your DoorDash order arrives. Perfect timing. Drinks are cold, pizza's hot, wings and fries are perfectly crispy. Now you're not just a fan, you're a winner. DoorDash turns every good college football game day into a great one with game day favorites delivered right to your door right when you need them most. So go ahead, ride that high, celebrate the W. Just try not to spike the remote out of excitement when your food shows up. Your team wins, you win. DoorDash delivers the W in food form. All right, final segment of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns alongside Mack Brown and Vince Young. I'm Bob Ballou. We appreciate you tuning in anywhere you get your podcasts. You can find us. You can watch us on YouTube or Listen to us anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, and you can also rate and review us at the Stampede UT across social media. Mac Brown's favorite segment, the Underdogs of the Week, presented by Underdog Fantasy. Mac, you went with Fernando Mendoza again, who made literally the best throw that's happened in college football this year. You did not win your underdog pick, though. I would imagine that did not make you happy as you fall to 5-8 on the year.
Yeah, I'm not into numbers. I don't do that. And I really thought that because of the way Fernando played on that last drive and won the game with no time left on an unbelievable throw, that we should have given me the win. I mean, that's what I thought as I was evaluating it. So because I think we didn't treat Fernando fair, I'm going again with Fernando this week. Come on, Fernando, pick it up to throw for more 240.5 yards against Wisconsin.
Third straight week, Mac Brown's going with Fernando Mendoza. You
And
gotta love it.
And it'll probably snow and they
Right, of
probably
course.
can't see, but nope. Come on, Fernando.
Indiana at home against Wisconsin. Mac Brown's going Fernando Mendoza
Definitely
for
gonna
a
be
third
cold.
straight week, this time higher than 240.5 yards passing.
I'm 50-50.
It's gonna happen.
Fernando.
I like
so
it.
Come on, Fernando.
I actually kind of thought Penn State was going to go down, kick a field goal, and then he'd throw a 25-yard touchdown pass to get you higher last week. It just didn't happen. Penn State kind of ran out of gas there at the end. All right,
Very,
Vince
very
Young,
kind of you, Bob.
Vince Young
Yeah.
took Marcel Reed to go lower than 227.5 yards passing at Missouri, which he did in a big win. Vince moves to 10-2 on the season, and one of his two losses was a game I picked for him. So in realistic terms, he's really 10-1. Vince, who are you going with this week?
I'm going with Arch Manning, 220.5. I'm gonna give a little love to the Longhorn kid. He's doing pretty good.
He's
doing
been
pretty
really good.
Yeah, he's
he's
doing
been
really good.
last
I'm
week.
proud of him.
If they're going to win this game, I think Arch Manning's going to have to throw the football. So I like that pick. Arch Manning higher than 220.5 yards passing as they head to Athens, and we'll get into that game here in just a second. I'm gonna go to the what game day's going there. We think it's going to be a really good game. Notre Dame at Pittsburgh, a really thriving Pittsburgh program that started a little slow and's really started to come on. They've got a true freshman quarterback in Mason Heinchel. I'm going to go with Mason Heinchel to go higher than 264.5 yards passing. Notre Dame has the 89th ranked pass defense in the country. They're giving up a lot of yards. If Pittsburgh's going to win that game, they're going to need Mason to throw for a bunch of yards. So I'll go higher than 264.5. And those are our picks for this week. By the way, I am 8-4 on the season. I lost last week. I had Baron Morton against BYU going higher than 260. He did not do that. So thanks a lot, Baron. Appreciate you.
I said that the defense at Texas didn't point fingers at the offense when the offense was struggling. And on this show, why do we have to throw out numbers after numbers after numbers and say that's Mac struggling? I mean, that's not what the defense did. That's not what good teams do.
They pointing fingers.
We support each other. We don't point fingers.
I'm just trying to bring out Vince's.
I'm
Just follow
I'm
Vince.
8-4.
Whatever you do, follow
Vince is 10-2. No, I screwed him up once. He's 10-1. Mac 1-30. I mean, that's what I heard.
Follow Max. I guess go oppo of Mac if you don't
There.
like that. Mac is 1-30.
Facts.
Sign up
That's
with
so
promo
funny.
code Stampede to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. As always, Underdog, make picks, win money.
Yes, Coach. There you go, right there. Every time we do the
the
underdogs, put your
glasses
glasses on.
I'm going undercover.
As you go undercover to Athens, Georgia this week to look at this matchup with Texas taking on Georgia. Georgia is not the same Georgia it's been. You can say what you want to say. They look the same. They're winning all the games, which is what they do. But this team has not looked the same as it normally looks. What do you attribute that to?
They aren't as good. They aren't as talented. Same staff, but they have won enough. Their coaching staff's confident enough, just like Texas, that they win games that in maybe some cases you wouldn't expect them to win, or you look at the numbers and the numbers don't show the record, but they're hard to beat. Period, because of their confidence. They're hard to beat because it's in Athens, and that's a wonderful place to play, just like playing in Austin. They're hard to beat because it's at night in Athens, and they'll be stirred up. And it's going to be a really tough game for both because it's a playoff game.
It
Yeah.
is.
It is a playoff game, and
Yes,
that's
it
one of
is.
the great things the playoff committee has done and the playoffs have done, they make this game even so much more important than it would have been. What the committee hasn't done is the teams that aren't there yet don't have a chance to get to the playoff or kind of already over. People don't talk about that anymore. They just drop them. And I still think that we should take the group of 5. What a great thing that playoff would be with USF and Memphis and all the Tulane and all those teams. We would have the same 12 that we're looking at for their national championship playoff instead of who's going to be the one team to get in and get beat
Mm,
and take a spot from a really good um, Power Four
Power 4
team.
team, yeah.
But I think that's what this comes down to tonight. It's going to be who makes the fewest mistakes and who makes the biggest plays. I mean that's what happens. And can Texas run the ball on the road? If you can you? Georgia just lost a great defensive tackle for the year. Are they going to be able to pass rush? Because their pass rush hasn't been near as good as it's been. The Texas offensive line is getting better. They're more confident. They found the pieces, and they've got everybody in place. So, and we recruited Gunnar Stockton at North Carolina. Now, he's a great young man. Um, he hasn't made the wow plays that Arch has made, but he hasn't made mistakes.
Right.
And that's who he is. And
15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
yeah, and Mike
So,
Bobo's been around a long time as a play caller. He's been a head coach. So Sark, he's going to get the ball to their guys' hands, but they haven't run the ball like they have in the past either. So I think the team that runs the ball and wins the turnover ratio wins this game.
Texas could not run the ball at all against Georgia last year in their 2 games. So that's a really good point. And the pass rush for Georgia, only 11 sacks this year. 3 of them came last week against Mississippi State, but only 11 this year. That is very different for this Georgia team. Vince, when you look at this as a player perspective, can you don't have to take glasses off.
Well, there's a there's a bright future here at the end. So
I like it.
I want to see it.
Vince, can you take anything from last year's games? Like when you were a player and you played a team that looked different, if you went to, you played Oklahoma State one year and then you come back and go to Stillwater the next year. Did you go back and look at anything from the year before that could help you, or do you think it's just because these teams are so different, especially in this Texas Georgia game, is that not something you can do?
Well, I mean, for me, 2 things. You got a team that has done it and beat you, for one. So it doesn't matter uh, about what you see on film. Just understand the schemes and things that they're trying to do to you. Um, but you still got to respect Georgia because of the fact they have done it over and over again for the last couple of years. So you have to put that in perspective, that the respect nature that you got to have for them. They got our number. So you got to look at it as that standpoint. Okay, what did we do last year that what made them guys beat us? Okay, we didn't run the ball well. Okay, we got in the red zone and missed field goals and didn't score.
Yeah.
You got to understand, like, okay, do you remember that taste in your mouth when they beat us at home, when they beat us in the championship game? You got to understand and use that as motivation, that let me prepare and read, let me study in my preparation, let me build on the third down, let me understand why we lost that game last year, and then understand who we playing this year, that the message that both teams have is the reason why they are winning, because they understand, don't worry about what the media is talking about, it's all about us. And we going into a hostile environment, that we're kind of a similar team, that we've been winning at the last minute because we've been not pointing fingers at each other. We've been coming together as a team to pull through whatever we have to do. And like Coach said, these games gonna be ugly. It's not gonna be like what everybody wants, 35 to 36 game or something like that. These games gonna these last couple of games about to be 14-7, 17 to some crazy number, 13 or something. It's about to be some tight games because of the fact, okay, we all rested, we all want it. We all want to finish our second half of our season strong. So the message from both teams right now is going to make it even harder for both teams to win in that type of atmosphere, because of everybody is so dialed in and focused on finishing the season. So to me, on that aspect, I just for the Texas standpoint, they got to understand they're going into a hostile environment, and they got to understand that taste that they had to take last year that really hurted them in a way. But just remember that taste, that what you got to do to prepare yourself to go win that game, because y'all was right there. If y'all would have finished in the end zone, take care of the penalties that they had, and special teams made their field goal, they would have won that game.
Bob, this
So
game,
true.
very high reward, very tough consequences.
Yeah.
You win, you've got a good path, great chance to get to the playoffs. You lose, you're fighting your way back in. And you always wanted to be in control of your destiny. Texas wins, they control their destiny. They lose, they got to hope somebody else loses.
Yeah.
And that's you never want to depend on the success of somebody else to put you in a place to play. And that's key here for this weekend.
Yeah.
Every player on Monday said, control what you can control.
Yeah,
and that's the
correct.
biggest thing for this Texas team right now. All right, Mac, final list of must-dos if Texas wins Saturday.
What they've got to do is continue to get the ball to the right guys, run the ball well enough to control the line of scrimmage and protect Arch enough to get some explosives off of it, and hopefully break some tendencies, because they had a week off, Georgia didn't, and they've got some tendency breakers. So we may see that pump and go, a double move, a halfback pass, a double pass, something like that. They've got to stop the run and keep Gunner in the pocket. Gunner to me is a lot like Pavia. He can scramble enough to hurt you. He can make the throws, but he's not a wild guy right now. So keep him in the pocket. Make him beat you with his arm. Don't let him beat you with his legs. Don't let them throw the ball, and then continue to win the kicking game.
Georgia's 35-1 at home. Let's see if Longhorns can make it 35-2 with a win this weekend, Athens. We'll let you know, and we'll talk about it next week. Coach Brown, Vince, thank you guys as always. Appreciate you.
Shout out to our veterans, baby. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. We love and pray for you every day. Be
Appreciate
safe.
you guys.
Get home safe.
Absolutely. We appreciate everything you guys do for our country. We appreciate you listening to this edition of The Stampede. It's a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We appreciate you listening. For Vince Young and Mack Brown, I'm Bob Ballou. We'll see you next week.